nerds, what's up? I'm here with my little baby tree. It's the height I am sitting down on the floor. It's great. Today's video is going to be an unhaul for just December or the year, whatever, 2018 unhaul. I was pretty good. I was pretty good with getting rid of books this time around. But before I go into that, I actually wanted to show you two amazing gifts that Bex and Becky sent me, and this is if you haven't been on Twitter, you might not know that there's been this push to see Amazon wishlist being regularly spread across BookTube, because that way if people want to give you books or whatever, then they have access to a wishlist without, you know, asking for your address or whatever. And so I decided to take part in that, and the Garbage Gang, #Garbage Gang, is awesome. And so I received this from Bex and Books, The Poppy War, and I'm so excited to read this. I actually was so excited that I put this on my wish list even though I already owned a copy because I'm a fucking idiot. But thank you so much, Bex. I am so excited that I have a copy of The Poppy War, and it was much appreciated, and I love it so much. Thank you so much. Becky from Coffee, Cocktails, and Books also sent me Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which I've been so interested in reading this lately. Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads read it, and she was talking about how scary it was because it's a mermaid book, but like mermaids are terrifying in this book. It's like a horror novel. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle this, but I really want to read it. And so thank you so much, Becky. I really love it. So now getting into the actual unhaul, let's do this. Okay, so I do not know how many books this is because it's a steaming pile of shit here, but that's my life, so. The first set of books here I have is a series, and it's a pretty beloved series, but I think I'm just too old for it at this point. I'm never gonna come back to these, and it is the Percy Jackson series. I know, I'm getting rid of the Percy Jackson series. I really loved these. I've read them more than once, actually. I was keeping them for a long time because I thought I'd reread them, but now I'm at the age where I don't think I ever will revisit these. One day when I have kids, I would love for them to read these, but like by the time they're old enough to read these, that's like, even if I was pregnant right this minute, which I'm not, that would be at least 10 years away. And I don't think that that's a good reason to keep a set of books that I'm never going to read, even though I think that these will be good books for future children when I eventually do have them. The next book I have here I'm getting rid of partially because of the way that it looks, and partially because I have read it and I do like this author's writing, but it's Impulse by Ellen Hopkins, and I'm getting rid of it mostly because it's so torn up. And my cats love this book. It's so funny. Hedwig always just goes to town sniffing this book. So it's obviously, I bought this secondhand for like $1. And it was already partially chewed like this, and then my cats did more damage. So I don't feel that bad about the damage because there was already damage, but yeah, I'm getting rid of it. Next book I have here is a book that I had been sent for review, and it's a self-published book, and it's Echoes by Laura Tisdall. I actually really enjoyed this book, but I'm just never going to get back to it. And this is a book about a girl who is a coder. She like gets involved in some sort of scheme or something on accident and has to like save her own life. And it was interesting. Looking back on this book, it's not as good as I thought it was when I initially read it, so I'm never going to revisit this, so it's going away. The next book I have here is pretty new, and I feel bad, but not that bad, and it's The Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. You guys have probably heard about this one. We actually did a live show about this book for the Bibliobook Club on the Bibliobook channel, and I just... Next book I have here is Noggin by John Corey Whaley. Now John Corey Whaley, I have read Where Things Come Back, and that's one of my favorite books. I really love his writing style. I don't remember why I picked this up, but I picked it up a long time ago at one of the first, I think the first Y'all West that I ever went to, and I like don't even remember what this book is about. I just remember seeing John Corey Whaley, and I think back when this was popular, maybe Jessie from Jessie the Reader was talking a lot about it, and it's now just like past the point of me being interested enough to actually read it, so I'm getting rid of it. The next two books I have here are part of a series, and it is Curse of the Sphinx and Demigods and Monsters, and I got these back when booktube tours was a thing. I did read this book. I did like it. I just didn't like it enough to ever pick up the sequel, and so I'm getting rid of them. The next book I have here is Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. Now this book was really interesting. It's a book about a girl who dies, and it's about her afterlife. What are you eating? Cat mom life. I thought he was eating something that he's not supposed to be eating, and he was eating his food. Okay. So yeah, this book is about a girl who dies, and she's in the afterlife. She died at 16, so she's going to live in the afterlife for 16 years as she ages down into a baby again and then is reborn. So I really liked the rebirth. I'm flinging this around. I really liked the rebirth aspect of this, but like, I'm never going to reread it. So it was interesting, and now I'm done with it. The next book I have here is an ARC, and it is The Point by John Dixon. I got this for free at Y'all West this year. Daredevil girl with superhuman powers. Not interested. The next book I have here just shows how long I've been on YouTube, because it is Girl Online by Zoe Sugg, and I bought this when it came out because Zoe Sugg, and I still love Zoe, but I don't think I'm ever gonna read this, so I'm gonna get rid of it. The next book here, you guys are gonna be a little bit mad at me. Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I actually just read A Very Large Expanse of Sea. We have a live show on December 14th, which this video will probably be up on December 14th or the day after. So I don't know if it's already happened, but if it has happened, it'll be there. And if it hasn't happened, it's at 8 p.m. PST on December 14th. I don't even really know what this book is about, but I'm not interested. I really liked A Very Large Expanse of Sea, but I'm not interested in the plot of this like dystopian world. The next book I have here, Rhiannon, I'm sorry. It is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Now I've actually read this, and it is actually really good. I saw the musical first and then decided to read it, and it didn't ruin it for me, and I do really like this book. But this book is just worn and torn, and it's like one of those mass market paperbacks, so I just don't want it anymore. Okay, we're keeping along with one of the themes here, which is that I'm getting rid of anything by Rick Riordan. I think I'm past the point of wanting to read Rick Riordan's middle grade books, and I think that it'll do me better to get these from the library than having them on my shelves, because I just don't think I want to own them anymore. So like, I'm fine reading them. I actually even might revisit these books one day, or his other series, but there's no reason for it to be on my shelves, because one, I'm not interested enough in picking it up, and two, it's not what I want to see on my shelves. Like, it's too young for me, which sounds really like that, but it's my life. The next book I have here is a John Green book, and it is Looking for Alaska. This is the only John Green book I haven't read, and I'm terrified to read it because, actually that's not true, I haven't read Turtles All the Way Down yet either. I did keep that book, but I've heard such bad things about this, and a lot of the people who like this say that they also like Paper Towns, which was the worst book of John Green's in my opinion, and so I just don't want to read this because I want to love John Green, and I feel like this will make me not like John Green, so I'm getting rid of it. And going along with another popular author and John Green, I am getting rid of Will Grayson by David Levithan and John Green. I did read this and it was good. It's very early 2000s young adult. It came out in 2010, so I was a little underballing it, but it very much feels like a book that came out when I was in high school. Okay, the next book I have here was also a book that I was sent for review, and it is Secrets of Mildera. Actually, I was just sent it to do a haul and stuff, and I love the cover of this book, but I'm just not interested in reading it anymore. I was when I initially said yes. Mystery of her grandfather's disappearance. But like, I think that I don't know. I don't remember, but I'm gonna get rid of it. Next book here, I think Emma from Emma Books will hate me for, but I'm getting rid of The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. It's a dystopian, not interested. Next book I have here is also one of those books that's been around on BookTube, and it's either loved or hated, and I didn't like it, and so I'm getting rid of it, and it's Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I read this book and I thought it was very stereotypical and like very predictable, and the last like 30 pages were good, but everything else wasn't, and I have no interest in continuing the series, and the cover is so pretty, but I'm getting rid of it. I'm also getting rid of some of the books that I have from my time as an anthropology major, and that is The Statues That Walked and My California. I don't even know what this one was. I never had to actually read this. And then The Statues That Walked is about the Easter Island statues and like how they think that the people who had no technology, like machinery to move these giant statues from where they were made to where they now sit, they basically did a bunch of research and figured out how they think that they were moved. And it was interesting. I actually took this class of the guy who did the research, like he was my professor, so it was really interesting, but like I'm not that interested in ever reading it again, so I'm getting rid of it. The next book I have here, if you guys watched my December TBR, you will have assumed that this was on here, and it is Not If I Save You First by Ali Carter. I got this book for free at Y'all West this year, and the reason I'm getting rid of it is because the back says he has a killer on his tail, she has a bedazzled hatchet, what could possibly go wrong? And what could possibly go wrong is that I will hate it. So I'm getting rid of it. The next book I have here is by an author that I really, really like, but I just have no interest in reading this book. It's been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I don't want to read it. And it is Leviathan by Scott Westerfield, and it's one of those punk, what are those books called? Steampunk. It's a steampunk book. I don't like steampunk. I'm getting rid of it. The next book I have here is I'm stuck on it, but it is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. I have read this and I did really like it. I read the entire trilogy, but I only own the first one, and I have no interest in owning the series enough to buy it. And so that makes me think that I should get rid of this, so I'm getting rid of it. Okay, the next book here is also a pretty popular one, and it is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. I have just never read Rochelle Mead. I don't even know why I own this. I mean, I know why I owned it. It's because there was hype about it, and so then I bought it. But like, I'm never gonna read The Vampire Academy, and this book sounds interesting enough to get it from the library, but like, not interested enough to keep it on my shelves. Next book I have here is a contemporary, and it is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. There is also a live show for this book up on the Bibliothon channel with me in it. It was fine. It was fine. Like, I liked it. It was fun. But will I ever read it again? No. And do I care enough to have this big ass book on my shelf? No. So I'm getting rid of it. This is the one book that you could probably convince me to keep and to actually read if you wanted to. So if you really want me to keep this book, let me know in the comments. But it is Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. That her name is hard for me today. This is a contemporary, and it has like it's spoken, there's like poetry in it maybe, I think, or she just talks about poetry. I don't know. It looks like an actual book, not like a verse book, but it's been on my shelf for so long and I haven't picked it up yet, and so I don't feel like I need to keep it on my shelf. But like, also I've heard really good things about it, so if you really want me to keep this one, let me know. Next one I have here is The Tombs by Deborah Schomburg. I was also sent this in exchange for a review, and I do have a review of it somewhere up on my channel. I love the deckled edges. The cover is so cool. This is a historical fantasy with a little bit of like sci-fi elements. It's about a woman who is put into an insane asylum back in the day when that was very common, when women just were assumed to be crazy for basically no reason. I liked it, but I think that there were things that could have been done better about it. Okay, the next one I have here, there's just two more, is Serafina by Rachel Hartman. I read this, it was fine. I thought I was gonna love it a lot more than I did, and I will never pick up the rest of the series, so getting rid of that, even though it's so pretty. So pretty. If this was just for aesthetics alone, I would be keeping this, but like, I don't feel like displaying it because I didn't like it that much, so I'm getting rid of it. Last one, don't come for me, do not come for me, but it is Rainbow Rowell's Carry On. I didn't like this. A lot of people really like this book, but my opinion is my opinion, and I'm sorry, and you can love it and I'm glad you like it, but like, I hated this. It was so similar to Harry Potter that I was just like, why is this not as good as Harry Potter? Why is this sucking so much, like the weird magic and like, I don't know, it was obviously, like, it was fun, and had I been more interested in the fan fiction in Fangirl instead of in the actual plot of Fangirl, I think I would have liked this more. But like, when I was reading Fangirl, I was like annoyed every time that there was a segment of Carry On, and I just didn't like this. I'm sorry. So I'm getting rid of it so that somebody can love it more than me. So that's all of the books I'm getting rid of. Let's count them. 35 books. I'm getting rid of 35 books today. I feel really happy about that. I do have a Depop shop, so if you guys are interested, you can check that out. I do have some clothes on there and some books already, and then I will eventually get these put up on there, but that'll take some time, so patience is a virtue. So if you want to check that out, you can. My wish list is also down below if you guys are interested in checking it out, even if you just want to peruse and see if you want to add anything to your own wish list. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. I make videos every Wednesday and Saturday, although that's probably changing in the new year, so you can always hit that little notification bell every time I post a video, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye! I wish I could